Hi Rebecca, how are
Hi,
you?
Murray. I'm good.
So we are friends from way back. We went to university together.
We're
Um,
babies.
yes, and we met up today to have lunch, and I wanted to ask you a few questions about how you ended up in Australia, because I know you were born in America. So you want to start with how you came here?
Sure. It's a long story, though, because
Yes.
I kind of came here through multiple channels.
Uh-huh.
So I originally left the States to go to New Zealand,
And what
where
state were you born in?
I was born in California but raised in Oregon.
Uh-huh.
So spent most of my formative life in Oregon and then moved to New Zealand, where my dad lived and my two half-sisters and my stepmom.
How old were you when you moved to New Zealand?
I was a month shy of my 20th birthday. So yeah, that was an experience. That was totally a different kind of environment to what I was used to. So I lived there, and then I met my husband there, and we moved to Papua New Guinea. And we lived there for 3 years, nearly 4, and then we came to Australia. So sort of came to Australia via 2 other countries.
Right. And I mean, I guess you've lived in, various different countries now. Have your opinions of those countries changed over the years? Has your opinion of America changed since moving to Australia?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I think part of the beauty of living in another country is being able to view your own home country as somewhat of an outsider. You can never be a full outsider because there are so many things that are just in you from your upbringing that aren't easily dismissed. But yeah, I think that the way I think about healthcare and free education and reducing inequality, I think that's largely been driven by living in countries where there's been a huge social welfare net
Like
for
New Zealand,
people.
Australia.
Right, where your kid gets sick and you don't go bankrupt and lose your house because you had to take your child to an emergency, which then turned into a surgery that you couldn't afford. So I think that's had a significant impact on the way that I view education and health in the US.
Yeah. What are some things that you do miss about the United States or life there that
The
you like?
hamburgers.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, there's just like these Rissole things that they serve you here. It's just like got breadcrumbs
Not
and
the
bell
same.
peppers in it. I'm like, what is this? This is not a meat patty.
Yeah.
So definitely burgers, thick shakes. I know these are just really terrible things, but it's kind of like the food of my youth. When I go home and I just have like a really delicious hamburger and a chocolate shake, I just kind of feel like all is right with the world.
So there's an emotional content.
The other thing are the pine trees. So like I grew up in Oregon predominantly, or Northern California and Oregon, and just these beautiful pine trees and the forests and the smell, the smell of all of that. So when I go back, we have a little cabin in Washington, and it's up in the woods. And in the summer and in the winter, just the smell of the pine is it's beautiful. I miss that. I miss that a lot.
How often do you get to visit the US?
At least once a year.
Right.
Yeah, mostly twice.
Really important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, most of my connections are there. I still love America, my friends and my family. We're deeply connected, and to not have some kind of regularity of contact would just be awful.
Yeah, sure. Given that you've lived in Australia for many years now, what are a couple of the things that you really, really like about Australia?
Oh, so many things that I like about Australia. I like the freedom in Australia. I like that there's lower levels of violence, lower levels of serious drug use. We've got excellent health care for most members of our population. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I like that we live in a country where we deeply care about each other in a more collective sense. And I think Australia offers that in spades. It's clean, it feels fresh, it feels open. It doesn't have that densely populated feel of some European cities, or
there's a greater sense of space.
Big sense of space, yeah. Big sky, big land.
Yeah.
I love Australian people. They're laid back. It's a pretty relaxed place to live. Yeah. I can't, apart from the heat in the summer, and today we've got a pretty cool day, so we're lucking out, but I can't really think of anything I don't like, with the exception of the treatment of the indigenous people here is shocking. we're not really as hospitable to migrants as we need to be. But
Yeah.
but all of these things can be changed.
Yep. Excellent. That was really good. Thanks, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
Okay.